This one email made me $35,342, and it wasn't even a sales email. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this email worked line by line. So if you want to get better at writing emails that sell, this is for you. Keep watching. Hey Posse, what's up? It's Alex. I am really excited about this video because I freaking love analyzing copy, whether it's my own copy or copy that I see in the wild, and sharing why I think it works. Now, you have seen me do this with ads, but this is the first time that I'm actually going to show you an email that I wrote to my list and break it down for you line by line. So if you love email marketing as much as I do, you definitely want to pay attention to this video as I go through this entire email from the subject line all the way to the PS line, and make sure you subscribe below so you don't miss another video from me. Now, for some context, because you have heard me say it, context is everything in marketing. This particular email was sent to my list back on March 31st, 2024, and it wasn't trying to directly sell anything. In other words, it wasn't part of a launch or promotional campaign or written as a sales email at all. It was simply a content email with a few subtle CTAs. I send 3 of these kind of emails to my list every single week to do nothing but connect with my audience, build trust, and deliver value. And as any good marketer will tell you, trust is an essential prerequisite to making any sale, which is why 80% of my email marketing strategy consists of pure content emails where I share a story, a lesson, or advice from my own life and business, and it is never, ever, ever written by AI. Then sometimes, and only if it makes sense within the context of the email, I will casually link to a relevant offer or another helpful piece of content. By the way, if you want to learn my exact email marketing strategy, including how I balance content emails with promotional emails and how I plan my email calendar for the entire year, then definitely check out my 365-day inbox income mini course. I will link to that in the description box below for you to check out next. So as I said, I made over $35,000 from this one email. I got receipts. This is a screenshot of the metrics for this one content email pulled straight from my Kit account this week. Now you can see that I selected a date range of approximately 1 month after this email was sent, 32 days to be exact. That way I could see the revenue that came in from anyone who clicked on a link in this email and then went on to buy something or became a customer within the next month. And according to Kit, that number is 35,342. Now, of course, if I extend that date range to like now, that number would increase significantly, but I really wanted to look at conversions that happened just within that month or so after this email was sent to my list. So with that, let's look at the email, starting with the subject line, a client call from a grimy street in Florence with a little camera emoji. So right away, this subject line grabs attention with a great storytelling hook. It pulls the reader straight in by describing a location. And of course, that camera emoji was also incredibly intentional. It implies that there is, in fact, a photo inside. Now, this subject line had an open rate of 35.7%. And by the way, if you want to get my entire report with over 100 subject line split test results and key insights to massively boost your open rates, I'll link to that below too. All right, now let's dive into the email itself. It opens with, okay, I've got a bone to pick first name. So right out the gate, we're starting with a pattern interrupt. This is conversational, it's unexpected, and it immediately piques curiosity. That phrase, I've got a bone to pick, signals conflict. And who doesn't love just a little bit of trouble, right? You can also see that I use personalization here by adding in the reader's name. So even though, of course, it is a mass email, sent to my entire list, it still feels personal. Now, this statement creates an open loop. They want to know why I've got a bone to pick, so of course they keep reading. Then the email goes on to say, I cringe when I hear brand new copywriters complain about boring projects, or companies who don't have some epic mission to change the world, or agencies who don't care about branding, or clients who don't feel in alignment because their products or services are not in the niche they're passionate about. And then in the same breath, they complain that they can't find clients. It is such backward thinking to go into copywriting with the expectation that you'll get your dream job writing for your dream client in your dream niche immediately. So what I'm doing here is actually two different things depending on the person who is reading this email. So first, I'm expressing a relatable frustration, something that will make readers think, yes, this annoys me too. And number two, I am also challenging a common belief or mindset that may make some readers feel just a little bit called out. And in both of these cases, we are creating an emotional response. You can see that we also casually dropped a little hyperlink here. Now, this was incredibly strategic, but it did not interfere with the story I was telling or demand that you click it. This simply links to my free guide with 101 ways to find your next client. And obviously, this is a lead magnet that I primarily use for lead generation. And yes, anyone reading this email is already on my email list, so why would I link to that in this email? Well, I did it for two reasons. First, because the information in this guide is so freaking helpful for anyone who is looking for clients, and this reader may not have this particular freebie yet. And this lead magnet also makes an offer and invites readers to learn more about my Spark membership for freelancers and service providers. So that explains the very first way this email made me money without even really trying. Anyone who clicked to get the free guide, then got the value they were looking for, and then wanted even more, could then get on the wait list for the next time my Spark membership opened. Now, this email then goes on to say, I mean, copywriters are magical in a lot of ways, but I am not a genie in a bottle, and I cannot grant you these 3 wishes. So I intentionally added some humor here because this email has a lot of my famous real talk and tough love in it. So as much as possible, I wanted to keep the tone light and fun without making it sting too much. Humor is a great way to disarm resistance or self-defensiveness and build trust and connection. Again, making someone laugh is a great emotional response before I go back in with that real talk. Starting a new business of any kind is not glamorous like the perfectly curated social media world might have you believe. And then again, a little bit of humor. I know we all have this vision of freelancing as something that looks like this. And then I added this insanely unrealistic picture of some dude working on a beach on his laptop. It goes on to say, but have you actually ever tried to work on a laptop on a beach? It's horrendous. The reflective screen, dripping sweat, sand everywhere. And then I go back to the real talk. In reality, freelancing looks a little more like this. And then yes, I added in that real picture from my Instagram archives, and I go on to say, that's me back in my freelancing days on a grimy street in Florence where I had to walk out of a nightclub at 1 a.m. to take a call with a client. Remember my nightclubbing days? My point is that freelancing isn't always glamorous. Sometimes you have to work on projects you don't love. Sometimes you have to compromise on regular working hours. Sometimes you have to take calls at less than ideal times. And sometimes you have to take on any project if it means getting paid, as long as it's not douchey or scammy or compromises your values in any way, of course. So here I'm delivering on my subject line hint of a photo inside, and I'm using visual contrast to demonstrate the stark difference between vision and reality. And most importantly, I'm using real storytelling to drive my point home. It's a I've been in the trenches just like you moment that builds credibility because it's real, it's honest, and it's relatable. Even if you haven't yet walked out of a nightclub at 1 a.m. in Florence to take a client call, you probably have worked in weird locations or at weird hours or had to stop doing something fun to get some quick work done, because that's how it works when you have a freelancing business. Okay, so now that I've shattered the hopes and dreams of all of my readers, kidding of course, it is time to turn it around and show them what is possible. The email goes on to say, but then after you put in the reps, build your experience, and build your client network, there is no limit to what you can create. That's truly when you get to put the free in freelancing. Financial freedom, location freedom, time freedom, choice freedom. So what I'm doing here is I am future pacing and painting a picture of what is possible for my reader if they do not give up, speaking to their biggest desires. And I go on to share some social proof, And you can get there. Not only have I done it myself, but I've also watched many of my students do it too. And then I added another image, a screenshot of a real conversation that I had with one of my students in my DMs. This student is earning double the income she made in her 9-to-5 and says she is living her best life. Showing a conversation like this is so much more effective and builds way more trust than me just telling my reader, hey, you can do this too. You should trust me. Okay, so after all that feel-good aspirational copy, it's time for a little bit of tough love again. My goodness, this email is an emotional roller coaster, and it is pretty genius if I do say so myself. Looking back on it now, I'm like, dang. So I say, you know this already, but you are not going to achieve that freelancer life by doom scrolling on social media and comparing your progress to someone else. I know we're all addicted to this idea of hitting $10,000 a month, traveling the world, and working with amazing clients. And we think that if we don't get there right away, then we must be doing something wrong. Now, this hits because it speaks directly to the number one thing that is holding my reader back, which in this case is too much comparison and not enough action. So here I am calling out the problem, but I'm also letting them know that nothing is wrong with them, making them feel more seen, heard, and understood, but not judged. And then finally, I introduce a solution. But I am here to tell you, taking your business to the next level not only takes time and experience, but it also takes accountability and support. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen alone. I know it can feel like everyone else is moving forward, everyone else is having wins, and everyone else is crushing it all the time. Meanwhile, maybe you're struggling to find your groove, get that dream client, or make consistent income. Trust me, you are not alone. For 99% of freelancers, a community is the thing they are missing most in their life and business. And the Posse has your back. If you are ready to grow your confidence, consistently land high-quality clients, and get the tools, guidance, and support you need to get to your first $10,000 a month, join the waitlist to be the first to hear about my new membership for freelancers launching soon. And then I sign it off. Happy Sunday, Alex. Now, up until this point, I only had one link in this entire email, the link to the free guide. If someone had read this far, we know they are a highly engaged reader and interested in what I am sharing. So I end this email with a final storytelling formula called the before-after bridge. I'm describing the place the reader is in right now before they have their transformation. They're feeling discouraged because they aren't seeing the results they want. I describe the place they want to be in, which is consistently landing high-quality clients. And then the bridge to get there is, of course, my Spark membership. So see how this all came together. And then I go on to plug the waitlist for my Spark membership, which, if you remember, is also the offer that was on the back end of that free lead magnet that I linked to earlier. But, and here's the cool thing, the doors to my membership weren't even open at the time of this email. I was simply inviting them to get on the waitlist. So far, this email has only 2 clickable links, not including the PS line, which I will get to in just a second. And none of these links linked to a sales page or an offer. Pretty cool, right? All right, now let's look at the PS line. First name, what would happen if you spent an extra 30 minutes a day looking for clients? So here I added a subtle link to that same lead magnet from earlier. What would happen if you invested in a course that helped thousands of copywriters start successful freelancing careers? Now here I shared a link to my flagship 8-week copywriting program, and this is the only direct offer link that I included in this email, and it is very subtle. What would happen if you joined a supportive community to get ongoing support to get to the next level, with one last link again to my membership waitlist page? I'll tell you what would happen. Your transformation would be inevitable. All right, so here I am asking some rhetorical questions to get my reader thinking even more about their own transformation and maybe their next step. I'm giving them some options to learn more about how I can help them. No scarcity, no urgency, no sales pitch, just subtle links. And then I am ending on a really positive and encouraging note. And that is it, my friends, the email that made me over $35,000. This goes to show just how powerful content emails can be and how important it is to engage your audience between launches and promotions. And if you want more videos like this, breaking down real emails that I sent to my list, give me a thumbs thumbs up below and let me know in the comments which part of this email really stood out to you the most. And if you want to get your hands on my entire email marketing strategy so you too can start monetizing your email list, check out 365-day inbox income in the description box below, and I shared a couple other links down there for you as well. And if you want to binge watch some more copy critiques like this, check out the next video from me. It'll play after this one, and I will see you next week with a brand new video. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out the next one from me right here. And you can click right here to get a free gift. What does it take to write an ad, headline, or subject line that's impossible to ignore? Come along with me as I take you through one of my favorite copywriting exercises ever. I'm gonna let you look over my shoulder as I critique this Galentine's copy from Anthropology in real time, along with 6 other variations of it submitted by you, the Posse community. What made them great, what left me wanting more, and what could make them even more powerful. Keep watching.